How much influence do the handlers and the notion of whether your films are making money or not making money have on a choice now? Because you're all three extraordinarily hot. If your film tanks and doesn't make a lot of money, do you have people around you saying the next thing you do has got to be a money maker, or do you just ignore it completely and say the next thing I do is from my heart? I don't care whether it makes a dime or not.
Yeah, I have nothing to prove anymore. You know, I get to. The only thing that's been worth anything is to explore something that was interesting to me. Those choices, maybe I made a couple when I first started. It just didn't. They weren't satisfying. It's not why I got into it. It's not why I want to do it. So I hear a lot. Like I did a film a couple years ago, the Jesse James, the assassination of Jesse James. And it's on the books as a failure. I love it. I love that movie. I had such a great experience.
But it's on the books as a failure.
But it's on the books as a failure. But my point is that I feel absolutely free to follow the things that interest me, and I believe if it interests me, there's going to be a few other people that is interested as well, and that's enough. And anymore I walk away from the film now going, if I'm satisfied with it. If I feel like we found something, because to me it comes down to discovery, which is why I'm so interested in the Mike Leigh process and what you guys did. But that's it. That's it for me. That's my win.
It's phenomenal. What? Jesse James.
Yes. Good. Thanks. Wait, you're the other one.
Well, sometimes the films you make the most are seen by the fewest people.
Right.
The films you love the most. Yeah. And is it?
Well, my first love is theater, and so I always had an exit strategy, which was, quite frankly, if this doesn't work out and all this tanks and it never really happens, I will be blessed to be doing theater for the rest of my life. And my goal when I started was I'd love to be able to make a living as an actor. And after the experience of Brokeback and the experience of Devil Wears Prada, I thought, all right, well, I'm about as famous as I think I'm comfortable with. And so if this all disappears, I'm really fine. I kind of set that as my end point. So anything aside from this is just gravy. And then Rachel came, and then Infamy came. And so it's very odd now that I am much more famous than I knew was possible. And at the same time, it feels so temporary and unimportant. And I've freed myself before any of that even happened to make the projects that I care about. I wish I were a better strategist, to be perfectly honest, and were able to see things through and figure out how they were going to play and what the final film would be like. But I'm much more interested in the process of making the film. And sometimes, and I count myself really lucky, as sometimes, as I did with Rachel, you want to plunge for a year into a girl's head and soul and think about her. And I had so much fun thinking about my character and staying there, and then we just shot it for 7 weeks, and it was every single day. It was the greatest joy I've ever known as an actor. It was so free, and I felt so comfortable, and I was working with such phenomenal people. And then immediately afterwards, I just thought, okay, I've done that. I literally want this next one to be all out. I don't want to go deep. I just want to show up on set every day, have a laugh, and and play a nice, sweet, simple character.
I'm not letting Robert off the hook.
First of all, I'm just kind of stoked to be sitting here with y'all, and it's good to be me too, I guess, But I grew up in a filmmaking family, and my dad was doing Maverick, underground, independent stuff at the time of Cassavetes and all that. So the Mike Leigh approach is nothing new to me. That was the order of the day. If your movie made money, that you were eyed suspiciously by your peers. Back then, and to me it was, but then there was the counterpoint to that, which is it became so about the art and so about the experience, things got further and further out until there was no containment for it. And that to me was the first death of independent.
Do you mean things got so out of
processes, proclivities, social things, Reaganomics, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, you're talking
you know.
about the atmosphere, not you. You're talking about the
People, atmosphere, the whole thing, and I saw this, things descended a bit, and a lot of great people kind of, burned out and whatever, so I went into starting my career with this idea of just, and you might have had a slow 10 years, but I basically wasn't in my body for 25, and supposedly I have like 65 credits during that period of time. Not that I think the work kept me grounded, and having a call sheet was the only stability in my life. So it's such a freak show to begin with. That the irony is, I'll be on these sets where I was shooting Iron Man, and we're out there in the desert, and I'm in this suit, and I've landed, and I'm in the CGI, and I just looked up, and there's a sandstorm, and I just had this aha moment of this, like, gratitude would be the wrong word, because that means that I'm grateful for this material career thing that's going on for me in that moment, but just being able to do this, this Cosa Nostra we're talking about is kind of inexplicable. It's that sense of I am at my purpose. The thing is to be always driving forward in the process, like, I'm not in it to win it, or in it to. I'm not in it to lose it anymore. But to be in it to win it you're still chasing something, and then you don't get. But I think what I appreciate most is when you have a little influence, and we all do. I mean, shit, we're the ones at this table right now. Is that you get to create continuity with things and people, and if you want to do your stuff, or you have, it makes sense for, Pitt Fincher is kind of a no-brainer, or Favreau and I, or guys like Ben Stiller are being able to work with Guy Ritchie now. You start linking up with the men and women that you feel like when we get together, this third thing happens, and that to me is that's the upside, is you get to choose your partners a little more, on the dance card. That's the only thing. That and creative influence is the only two properties that mean anything.